There's a box. There's a box surrounding me right now. You guys can't see it or feel it, but I just can't seem to get out. So you guys might wonder, how, what, and most importantly, why am I in a box? And why am I stuck? It all began last year when my teacher pulled me aside after class and told me about a national writing competition. First prize included publication, mentorship, and scholarship. Everything I said I wanted. I smiled. I thanked her. I even said I'll think about it. After I said that, I never submitted. Not because I was lazy, not because I didn't have time, but because of the words my parents told me when I was just 9 years old. I was standing in our kitchen, holding a vocabulary quiz with a bright red A+ circled in the middle. We expect big things from you. 6 words, spoken from love. 6 words that will quietly reshape my entire relationship with growth. Here's what nobody tells you about being labeled as someone with potential. It can become the very thing that stops you from reaching it. This is the paradox I want to talk about today, because we spend so much time talking about beating external odds, such as poverty, discrimination, lack of opportunity, and those are real. And they matter enormously. But there's other kinds of odds that are rarely discussed, the internal odds that come from early success itself. The odds you face when people believe in you so much that you become terrified of proving them wrong. After that day in the kitchen, something shifted in me. At first, it felt good. I felt seen. I felt chosen, special. But slowly, assignment after assignment, test by test, that feeling transformed into something else. Every paper I wrote became heavier. Every mistake became more visible. It wasn't about learning anymore. It was about proving that sentence true, about fitting into the shape of my parents' expectations. And here's the most insidious part. I started succeeding, consistently, which meant the expectations grew. Teachers added voices. You have so much potential. Don't waste it. You're capable of more than this. They meant it kindly. They genuinely did. But what I heard was, don't mess this up. Don't be average. And most importantly, don't disappoint us. So I adjusted. I stopped taking risks. I chose subjects I knew I would excel in, not the ones that genuinely challenged me. I avoided situations where I might lack ordinary. I did not do this consciously. There's no moment I sat down and decided to play it safe. It was subtler than that. I just slowly, quietly learned that success kept expectations intact and failure threatened them. I became an expert at managing my own image instead of pursuing my own personal interests. I became an expert at detecting what others will praise and what won't. And then came that writing competition. Standing there, holding that flyer, I felt something I felt 100 times before, but never named. What if I'm not as good as others think? What if I submit and don't win? What if my story isn't as brilliant? Not once did I ask, what will I learn? That's when I realized what had happened to me. Being labeled as someone with potential had quietly changed how I saw failure. Failure wasn't feedback. It wasn't part of the learning process. It wasn't a stepping stone. It felt like evidence. Evidence that I wasn't who people thought I was. Evidence that their faith in me had been misplaced. And when you start protecting an image instead of developing yourself, growth doesn't just slow down, but it completely stops. Research backed this up. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck found out that students praised for being smart becomes more risk-averse than students praised for their effort. Why? Because if you're smart, failure suggests otherwise. But if someone who works hard, failure just means you haven't worked hard enough yet. I have been praised into a corner. The more I succeed, the more I had to protect that success. The higher the expectations climbed, the further I had to fall. So I stopped climbing altogether. I found a comfortable ledge and just stayed there, calling it success, when it really was just fear. This year, I was taking another safe art class, the one I knew I would do well in. When I tried violin after a long period of time, I stopped. I've always been curious about violin, but I've never done it a lot. I was an artist, never a performer. And then a new thought emerged. So what? Who cares? So what if I'm bad? So what if I look stupid? So what if this isn't my thing? Nobody's expecting me to be good at this. Nobody's watching. Nobody's expectations are on the line. Just mine. And for the first time in years, I finally broke the box. I signed up, and I was predictably horrible. I froze on stage, I missed cues, and I once even forgot there was an entire line I had to play. Slowly, I started to ask a different question. Not how do I live up to their expectations, but what would challenge me, even if I fail? That shift changed everything. I started taking classes that scared me. I submitted writing to publications that might reject me. I had debates where I didn't have all the answers to. I tried things I was genuinely bad at. And here's what I discovered. Failure didn't erase my potential, but it built it. So here's my challenge for you. This week, do one thing that you might be bad at. Apply for something you might not get. Try something you're not sure you'll succeed. Risk being average. Not because expectations don't matter, but because your growth matters more. Their expectations doesn't matter. You beat those odds the same way you beat the others. Not by being perfect, but by breaking the box. Thank you.